Get 'em.
Welcome, folks. Y'all come on in and make yourself at home. This here, well, this is the Rolling Thunder Podcast, your home for all things Rolling Thunder. This episode is brought to you by Mossy Oak, because everything is better in Bottomland. Kent Cartridge, quality matters. Performance counts. Shen Gear, waterfowl gear that is built better. And Benelli USA, dominate the skies.
Welcome back to another episode of the Rolling Thunder Podcast.
What's up, buddy?
Man, it's another beautiful day in April. Third day in April.
Another beautiful day in April that we are not turkey hunting.
Nope. It rained this morning.
It didn't matter.
We still didn't
TWRA still frowns on turkey hunting in the month of April right now.
That's true.
I'm not real happy about it.
Yeah.
I was all about conservation 2 months ago during February, but
I tell you, I was all about conservation up until Thursday, this past Thursday, because then I realized April 1st was Saturday. I was like, man, we could be turkey hunting on Saturday at the house.
Yeah, the Facebook memories have just been like, I was telling somebody, I think I've killed a turkey or seen one die in the last 10 years, on some day for the last 2 weeks. It's either been Youth Day or been
About the last 4 snap memories I've had have been dead turkeys. I'm just like, okay, all right, we're almost there.
Yeah, almost there. Feels like an eternity away. Speaking of memories and turkey hunting, we've got a pretty cool podcast lined up today. One of our very own has drawn first blood, punched the old V card.
That's correct.
I love it. That is the voice of Champ Levey.
Yep.
So what are we calling this episode?
So these episodes are going to be called Beyond the Hunt, where if somebody shoots a turkey and they can get it back to the shop, we're going to hang it up out here and record a podcast and let whoever pulled the trigger tell us every bit of detail they can about the hunt, because no matter what you hunt, everybody knows that there's always more to it than pulling the trigger.
Absolutely.
So this is going to be kind of a cool way for us to tell those stories.
Tell stories.
Yeah.
So we're in the presence of an absolute whopper.
Monarch.
Yeah. A
Big
red-footed Georgia gobbler.
I'm telling you, an absolute hammer.
Drake, how many beards you got?
Trace
beards.
and a real close to 1 1/4 spurs on both sides.
Thick,
It all measured
Yeah.
out at 23 and a half,
Yeah.
I think, total.
Total beard length of 23.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a whopper. And I mean, there's a million things I love about him, but I love the red dirt on his feet. That's just freaking awesome.
And a little gold flake still stuck on him, man.
On the pyrite.
Yeah. You should have seen it after that rain that we had Saturday.
Oh.
Dude, there'd be places, because, there's that gold flake looking stuff all through out that dirt. But, man, once that sun hit that wet dirt, it just shined. Just looked like a solid gold slab.
That's awesome. All right, so I haven't heard any of the story.
I hadn't either.
And one of my favorite things about turkey hunting is getting the story. So I want the story. But before we tell the story, I just want to brag on you for just a minute, because Drake has been run through
The ringer.
the ringer of goat ropes. Partially because he's entrusted his first turkey to Trip Hodges a few times, and we all know how entrusting anything to Trip goes.
That's right.
But he's had the opportunity to show a fan a few times that he did not do. Mm-hmm. He had the opportunity with me last year to kill a Jake. I tried to get him to kill the Jake. So it's only you only get a couple opportunities where it's socially acceptable.
That's right.
The first turkey, that's it.
Yeah.
But you've learned how to yelp.
Very well.
Very well.
Very well.
Thank
very,
you.
very well.
Thank you.
And,
It helps that he's a
and
birdie individual.
And you've been you've been a student of the game, I guess is my point.
Absolutely.
And I was there. We all have been there. I mean, it took me 5 years to kill one. Of course, there was nobody out there,
The helping aids weren't there.
Right.
Yeah.
And I was a little kid. I mean, so it's not the same. But I'm just saying that before you tell your story, I just want to go on record as saying I'm proud of you for being a student of the game.
Thank you.
And you still got a lot of lessons to learn, and they're going to kick your ass from one end of the county to the next. But you earned that one with what Tom Kelly said is ass meat.
That's right.
Time.
Yeah.
Well, I hope y'all got plenty of time because this is going to be a full circle story, man. It from the start to beginning. It's me and my buddy Dallas is sitting right here next to me. Let's just say
We've been learning a lot.
Yeah, we're not here
We've
to
been
say we're some
taught
big bad
lessons.
turkey hunters or anything like that. You know,
Oh, no.
we're definitely students of the game.
Yeah.
But
I mean, this is your first one, and this is only the second one for me.
Yeah.
I mean, there's things that you're learning starting out. It's a real thing.
Yeah.
We can kill deer. We can kill ducks.
Talking
This
about
is a new thing for
figuring
us.
it all out, to quote Tom Kelly again, he said, about the same time I figure out everything there's about turkey hunting is the same time I draw my last breath. So you never know everything.
That's right.
Yeah. Yeah, they definitely have a way of teaching it. That's one of the coolest things about them is it's so different than duck hunting where there's a gazillion other jokers in the woods. And
Yeah.
there's so many other factors that it really kind of takes the opportunity for you to learn from the game.
Mm-hmm.
But with turkeys, I mean, even if you're hunting on public, you're typically only dealing with another person or two, if anybody.
Right,
but
right.
I mean, you pin your ears back and she'll teach you. Mother Nature will teach you.
Yeah.
It may
absolutely.
be by trial by fire and trial by errors, but
That's the best way to learn.
Oh, trial by error.
Yeah.
Hey, we got it. We got it. Don't worry though. We learn from our mistakes.
Absolutely.
all right. So give us the rundown.
Well, we were here on Thursday, and boss man said, "Hey, you can go and get out of here." I was like,
Great.
"You bet." We got about a 7-8 hour drive ahead
On
of
it.
us. Absolutely.
Full disclosure, I was mildly cranky, and I was not going to stand for
I was that's why
Dallas
I
to be
didn't even.
standing in the corner like, you're going to let Drake go.
You know what's
just get the hell
You know
out
what's
of here.
funny is I told him, I said, "Hey, if I show up a little early, you think that might put some
Damn
pressure,
it.
and maybe we can get out of there earlier?" He's like, "Well, I'm probably going to have to work till 5." I was like, "All right, well, I'll just hang
worth
out,
a shot.
get some lunch, and just relax and get ready."
As soon as you showed up, I seen everybody else just pouting and hanging their heads like kicking the dirt.
Well, they knew that old Boogeyman and Batman were about to go get amongst them.
That's correct. So anyhow,
I
we
want to go to Georgia.
we get on the road and we get there, and man, we pull in this place. Just look at it in the dark, you're like, it's like turkeys should be here, there, everywhere. You know, big, beautiful pines, and manicured food plots and roads, and man, it's everything you would picture and think the turkey would be in.
That's where he was.
Yeah.
So we wake up, we go scout. We don't hear anything off the rip, and we make a big loop. And heck, I think we walked about 5 or 6 miles that day.
Yep, yeah, right, 5.5, 5.6,
Yeah.
I think.
And we before we heard a turkey, man, we were just walking and scouting, just kind of feeling out the property, just getting the hang of things, just feeling it out and not calling or anything like that. We're just walking and listening. And we start off in this little food plot, and sure enough, Dallas finds a pretty cool looking arrowhead. And
Yeah,
I ain't
never
gonna
found
lie.
one at all. He
Yeah.
mentioned that they were down there and that they've been found. And boy, we walked by and I said, "Look at this." I said, "No, yeah."
He said,
Contact.
"I found one, bona fide."
I found one, real arrowhead.
Well, anyhow, so we get out of that food plot and we go down this bottom and we stumble upon this creek and this big, beautiful looking bottom, and it's picture perfect. Well, it ended up being picture perfect, not for us, but for our
Oh, yeah.
buddies
Oh,
at
that's coming.
the end of the.
Don't you
it's
worry,
coming.
it's coming.
Okay.
Yeah. So we end up looping around and everything. We get back down that bottom and we see this creek, and we're like, I asked Don, I said, "You want to get down there and look for arrowheads?" He said, "Absolutely."
Lost ourselves.
Yeah. We spent 30, 40 minutes down there looking for arrowheads. I don't even think we
Like
found
some
a
kids in a
single one.
sandbox playing with all their new toys. No, we were down there amongst them, just flipping rocks and looking this and that. That's wild.
Well, we get out of there. We make it back up. We see all these tracks walking down there, so we're going to follow them back up to see where they lead or what it is, or what's going on. And we get back up to the top, and we see this road makes this Y, so we take a right. We go down that road there, and it opens up to this turnaround loadout spot where a logging company would stack their logs and stuff. Well, all that stuff's gone now.
Shooting hole.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Basically.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So we get down there, we're looking, see some strut marks, we see a bunch of gob tracks, and we follow them, and they go down this road, and they split off and go in the woods right there, and there's like a little trail, like a little game trail. We walk down it and see that it drops down to this big bottom, and as soon as we get close to that crest of that ridge, we hear, ow, and we're like, oh, like he's really close. Like
This is
within 100 yards.
This
close.
is Friday afternoon.
Friday morning at 10:30.
Okay.
And
We called him 3-peat because he went, blah, 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 blah. It was like, yeah, okay.
yeah, first go
Contact.
and I my instincts just drop down immediately, and I'm like, get down, like because we're gonna be skylighted, and it's sunny, it's beautiful, and anyhow we get down, and once he goes that third time, we turn around. It's like, we know where he's at.
Pin
Yep.
dropped.
Oh, yeah. Headed back to the lodge and everything. And that,
Yeah.
that was like the fastest, point straight line that we could
Like,
make.
just for visual, y'all are doing the pimp walk right now, right? Like the haters brigade. I mean,
Oh,
just like,
wait. I'm talking about, I'm talking about
Already
throwing
punched the
arms going,
tag.
yes, sir.
Kinda
Know where
like
we going to
rolling
be in the
back-
morning.
Kind of like rolling back to the hotel in Canada after you just found 20,000 greenheads. Like, yeah,
Exactly.
who wants to hunt with me? That's a good feeling, ain't it?
Man, yeah, it really is. Especially being on a piece of dirt that you ain't ever been before.
Yeah.
And he's not going to migrate.
No.
he might have a different attitude tomorrow, but he's still going to be there.
He'll be in
That's
the, somewhere in the vicinity, yeah.
I think what happened was we were so close and didn't know it. We're just kind of walking. We weren't being super loud. We weren't
we were-
trying to step on sticks. We were still trying to.
We were whispering through the woods talking. We was trying to keep it low profile.
Yeah, very low profile. And man, I think what had happened was he heard us meandering through there.
Sure.
Gobbled at us, and well, we got out of there and we go back to camp, hang out, and next morning or that evening we go to hoot and listen and roost one, and we didn't hear a single thing.
Nobody did.
And we got out of there and went back the next day to come around on a different same spot, but we were just going to come around, on it.
Yeah.
So we didn't have to cross that bottom, and then we can already be on the top side and have the elevation. And man, we get there, that fork in the road that I was just talking about earlier, and man, we hooted, nothing, hooted, but off to our right, and in a spot we had no idea Bert was even thinking about. We thought the trees were maybe too small or too short, because it's been thinned, and there's not big what we'd
Right.
call roost trees, I guess.
Yeah,
Right.
So that was a little weird for me too. Well, we get set up. I do get my little what's that Thunderdome pod? The glass resin one.
Yeah, yeah,
the
yeah.
one that they had the paint on.
Yeah.
I was like, I want to take this thing with me and see if it works.
Yeah.
And
That's a bad little call.
See if
dude.
it works.
That's a bad little call,
Yeah.
man.
so well, sure enough, first little deal I did was a little purr, and I'm like, oh, okay. He cut us off. I was like, all right, that's good. So we sit there, and he's gobbling the whole time, we don't never hear him fly down, but there's a storm coming at about, 9?
Yeah, it was rolling in pretty early.
Yeah. And
Getting winds picking up and everything.
hard for us to hear and everything like that. And we were just in this.
As a side note, can we just give a big shout out to the Big G over here? Big Girk is snapping
Yerkin?
pictures. I mean,
Good job, Kirk.
way to go, Girk. Extra mile. He just went from cleaning out sawdust out of my barn to taking pictures of dead turkeys. I mean, just well-rounded.
Yeah, man. So going back to Saturday, it's not a really eventful day.
Got
For the
quiet
most
once he
part.
flew down, basically.
Yeah.
I mean, just
Early
Just got
season
quiet,
stuff,
yeah. So I figured, just exactly what you said. He probably went with hens. He'll probably fire back up
Yeah.
around 10, 11 o'clock.
Yeah.
Well, that's right when the rain hit, so we got out of there. And we noticed right before we left that he did come to see us. We had no idea. It was so thick, that underbrush, because they thinned it, all that sunlight coming in. That underbrush is growing up real good. And we think he made a big loop around us and seen his tracks on top where that road forked. And we were just inside
they
the
were
woods.
not. We were probably 50 yards from where we had started hearing things go on, and we eased off down in there, and I heard probably about 30 minutes before we got up, I thought I heard a little like, and I said, man, I think I heard something. We were texting because I was sitting pretty far behind him. This is his first turkey. Like, if there's more than one, that's fine, but I'm not greedy. I'm gonna let my man over here. We've been grinding. I'm gonna let him shoot. Like, it's not a big deal. I'm trying to get this man unstressed.
That's correct.
Yeah.
So, you want to tell some of the story?
Oh yeah, sure. So we got up there. We backed out, and we're gonna go try to maybe get down on the bottom of the big draw he was on. So we got out on the road, and that's when we saw the tracks, and we're like, this turkey, okay, man, all right. So we start easing down through there, and we see a couple of hens as we're easing. We're getting up to the edge of it, and glassing down, not trying to just silhouette ourselves blatantly, and see a couple, and then we keep moving down, and anyways, sit for a little bit. Boy, this property had a lot of deer. As we were sitting down, we had deer coming at us from all different directions.
Nothing make you hate deer,
boy,
like turkey season.
Especially a doe.
I mean, come on, why you got to blow? Why you got to run?
Dude.
So knowing this rain was coming, we just set up for a little while and tried to we hunted
blind
it out.
call,
We just sat there and deer hunted it for a little bit, just to be there in case.
Yeah,
and
right.
Anyway, nothing ended up popping off, so we eased our way back out, and we're going to look at something, and boy, we got caught in the rain. And it was not like a sprinkle and then rain. It was rain.
Bottom of
It was red, hurricane rain coming at us.
It was raining sideways through the pines like that, horizontal. Well, we get back to the camp, sit it out, eat some lunch. About 12, we get back in the truck and go park and try to get back over there where we saw all that scratching. We figured maybe there's going to be some that come back in there and, strut and hang out and dry themselves off. And sure enough, we get to that Y and get to because you go through that Y and it starts to crest a little bit, and then you can look down it.
Boozer calls this turkeying, by the way.
Yeah.
Like when they're not gobbling, they're just being turkeys. They're just turkeying. Like
well, they were definitely
this is a general area that you think they like to go turkey in.
My dad calls it lollygagging.
Oh, well, they were doing plenty of that this day.
Yeah. Well, so this is where it gets. Y'all are going to hear some stuff that y'all are going to think, man, these goobers, these new bloods,
they
don't
get
know.
it.
They don't get it.
We're learning everything right now.
Yeah. So now, mind you, I've been trying for the last 4 years. It's the fourth year, and patience is something that I've always struggled with in deer hunting. That's why I typically don't deer hunt as much anymore. That's why I like to duck hunt more, because I can cut up and hang out and be mobile if I have to and all this stuff. Well,
we've been trying to time this rain.
Yeah, we were trying to time it right.
When do we need to get back out there? Because they're going to come and dry off. Yeah. And this is coming from some other guys that have killed plenty more turkeys than us. And we're, like I said, we're soaking it up. I'm like, okay, they're going to come out to something that can catch some wind. They're wet. They want a sun. Get all that stuff off of them. Wham. We get there thinking that we're right on time. And sure enough, we were, because he was already standing at the base down there. And when we came up over the little rise, I had just glassed it, didn't see anything. And all of a sudden, both of us immediately at the same time locked up because we saw that something object that wasn't there before. And there he was. And
you can see him moving through like a little bush that, you can kind of see through it. And he couldn't see us at this point. And one thing that, now I will say, Trip has taught me this. Shout out to Trade Show Trip.
Chef Hodges.
Yeah. Well, last year, whenever we were walking around in Mississippi, he was like, hey, walk behind me. Hey, walk behind me. I'm like, I got tired of him telling me to walk behind him. Like, why? You're going to have to explain some stuff to me because this is new to me.
Sure.
It's something that I haven't been really successful with and trying to do. And, he told me, he's like, you got to think about it whenever you're walking side by side, that's two people. If something's on the ground, they're going to see two objects beat bopping around. Mo and Larry, here they come. Well,
correct.
And I last year, whenever we got on a bird, I mentioned that to you, like, hey, let's walk, in single file line so we don't get busted or something if something pops out. And sure enough, we were single file line, and as soon as we saw that object start coming across, we both froze,
locked up, and went to the ground just knelt.
Yeah, he come out and we're both like this, and he goes behind that bush again. So as soon as he goes behind that bush, let's kneel down. He goes behind the bush, kneel down real fast. Well, as soon as he goes behind that bush, he comes right back out, and I'm in a very uncomfortable position, like. And we're stacked like cordwood.
His legs cramping.
Yeah, my right leg, my hamstring I was so bound up because I couldn't move, and it was just like looking at us like a doe's been a blow at you or something.
Froze.
Yeah. Well, he goes back behind that bush. I said, all right, as soon as he goes back, we're just going to lay down right here on the side. And he went behind, laid down. Next thing you know, here come a hen, come walking out, doing her little thing. He comes, beat bopping around. She goes off, and he kind of is milling around. And next thing you know, he starts walking to us. I'm like,
like fate, like walking straight to us. I'm like, how is this? What?
How's this going to work?
Y'all
How
called
far is
to
he
him
at this
all?
point?
He's
60 yards.
55, 60.
Yeah, he gets some 50, 45 yards.
My gun's off. It's on the ground right in front of me. I mean, I've got it ready to pick up and hammer this dude if it's the real deal. And he's getting his gun off, and it's like, okay, so now he's laying behind me so I can cover his movements.
I had a little bit of, wiggle room. So as soon as he turned or did something, like looked away from us, I put my gun on his lap and kind of got ready so I can just, if he did get close enough, I'm just going to raise up and pop him. Mm-hmm. Well,
we're eyeballing hard. Okay, obviously, it's like, this is a big turkey.
Yeah.
But he ain't got no beard.
He didn't have a beard.
No, and he didn't ever, he wasn't doing anything. We weren't trying to get him fired up, and he wasn't fired up. Couldn't tell.
But one of the coolest things that we saw this whole trip, to me, was after that rain, man, that turkey was sitting there in that loadout spot, and that sun was kind of shining on him. And this dude just goes to, shake himself
off like a dog.
Cool, isn't it?
shake himself off, and you can see the mist doing all this, and then he just stands up and just flaps his wings, stretches them, like, it feels good out here today now, and
Man, and they're a different color black than the hens are.
Oh, man.
Isn't that cool?
Yeah,
the contrast
we thought,
between
black,
he didn't have a beard, and he never got in the full strut, so we didn't know what he was.
Yeah.
We just knew it was a male turkey, and he never came in the strut, so we couldn't tell. So we're at our buddy's place. We didn't come to Georgia to shoot no dang Jake. We're going to make dang sure this is a gobbler. Mm-hmm. And he goes off to our left, and I told Dallas, all right, he's going to go off to our left. Whenever he makes a move, let's crawl across this road.
And we had the terrain to do it. It wasn't like we were just standing up, running somewhere. We eased over. I mean, all our clothes are covered in red mud.
So he goes off to our left in this little pine thicket, and we crawl across this road, stick a decoy out right there beside us, and then get off in this little pine thicket. And there's, I guess, some old logs that they cut. They just kind of stacked up right there, and it just kind of worked out to where I was just tucked back, and just, if he was going to pop out, it's going to be 5 steps.
Yeah, it's going to be close.
Yeah. And, I called a little bit, just something soft, and he never gobbled or anything like that. And then we did hear a spit.
Couldn't
no
hear
drum.
the drum. Just heard
just spitting, and nothing really come of it. So we give it a little bit longer. I texted him, said, hey, do you think we can ease up or either crawl or slip our way, in that pine thicket to get to where we need to be for the rest of the afternoon? And we ended up doing it, and we get down there, and we see his tracks and everything. We're like, maybe. I can't tell if that's a gobbler or a Jake. It's too hard to tell. And
right.
So we really weren't too messed up about it. And we
didn't booger him up, though. That's the main thing. He wasn't boogered. He just eased on off, and we got around into position.
But we did have one of them doe blow at us. And we're like, all right, it's time to time to move.
One of my bucket list items is down like below things I show people. I'd really like to shoot one with TSS sometime. I just would really like to. It's pretty dark, and I'm sorry for admitting that. But
so once this doe blows, that's whenever we, push around and get into position, and we're sitting there, and here comes another deer, and what do you know? Wrong wind, and she blows at us too. And at this point, we're just so mad. We done sat there for probably 3 or 4 hours.
Starting to think about how far you could shoot one with TSS, aren't you?
Yeah, absolutely. So it's about 4 o'clock, and I've been texting our buddy Spencer Pruitt. Now, I will admit when I'm wrong, and Saturday afternoon, I was wrong as wrong can get.
They were several hundred yards down the ridge from where we were, and the road that came up for this loadout also was just turned into a trail and connected way down where they were. And long story short, he said, hey, 3 gobs headed your way. Okay. And we gave it he said, "Don't move. They're coming. They're on their trail. They'll be able to hear you very shortly."
Yeah, this was about 3:00.
Yeah, this was at 3:00.
Yeah.
At 4:00 is when we go.
We're starting to get antsy at this point.
The doe blows, and we're like, okay, like maybe they hadn't come by here. Maybe they cut through where we had seen something that they had been going through. Because notably, we said, man, this looks like a set, not just one bird, several birds coming through this little trail all the time. I don't know how turkeys do everything that they do, but I was like, maybe we should. Do you think? He's like, yeah, let's get up and see if they went down this road.
Oh, you got up and boogered them?
Oh no!
Oh no!
It's almost.
They didn't get boogered till Sunday morning at 8:00.
It's almost.
Let me tell you
it's
something,
almost
okay?
worse. It's almost worse than boogering them. We get up, we make our way around. Now, mind you, we've been trying and we've been learning.
And now, hold on now. Tell them about how Friday we've seen all these tracks.
No,
and we
through
thought
the
we had
trail.
these things patterned.
You're right.
Thinking,
you know.
okay, that's.
And I think I even talked to you about it. I was texting you about
this
it.
is something that they use frequently. We thought, several different big birds
Sets of
together.
tracks only going one direction, thinking they're making this big loop and everything. And
They see 3, they're coming. They don't ever show up to us. Boom. We said, all right, let's just try to make a maneuver, and possibly this will work right here. Let's see if we
thinking
can
they're
find out
headed where they were
went.
roosted, that morning.
Yeah.
So we get down there. We make us a good loop. Never saw tracks. We go down and scout something else out that looked absolutely supreme.
Where they were roosted at that morning, man alive. So we get how this property lays out. It's a big cutover by the road, and then it goes to thin pines that are pretty good size, and then it's at the top of a ridge, and it drops down this big, beautiful oak bottom. I'm talking about, and down in this oak bottom, there's pine trees that are big, spaced out, green. Like you can see from all the way down, all the way up the other side. It just looks textbook, And anyhow, we're at the bottom of it, and he's glassing.
Can I make a prediction?
Huh?
Can I make a prediction?
What?
Did they show up where y'all left?
We're getting
Okay.
there.
All
Yeah,
right.
we're gonna get
Sorry.
you there.
Yeah. So he's glassing, and what do you know? I go to look down. Well, here's Riley.
Let's give an all thumbs up on.
Flashes on.
So
Interrupt this
he
story
grabs
for-
me real quick because I'm about to take a foot forward, and he goes, whoa, 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 and I'm thinking, oh, rattlesnake, I'm done.
Because it's pine, it's getting hot and right on the sun. It's been kind of cool. I look down, or right before he goes to put his bundle, I look down like,
A bona fide
prettiest
arrowhead.
arrowhead I've ever seen in my life. That one I just showed you.
Yeah.
I'm talking about.
I couldn't draw one with a number 2 pencil more perfect than that arrowhead.
Now I know why Aaron is like, screw everything else. I'll just go arrowhead hunting, And right before he steps on, I grab him, and he jumps back like there's a 10-foot snake in front of him. He's like, whoa, what? And I just reached down, and he said, no way. He's like, bro, yes. Like we were pumping each other up. We were so excited. And we make our way up, and we see kind of where we think he was roosted at. And
That's from earlier in the morning where the first bird we thought we got on, but really wasn't on. But this is where he was hanging out.
Yeah.
Looked great. Okay.
Yeah, there's tracks and everything. So we thought, this is going to be good. We'll just sit here and wait for them to come before they go fly up and shoot them before they go to sleep.
Yeah.
Give them an early dirt nap.
Yep.
And we sit there for about an hour. And I'm just like, Spencer Pruitt, he told me to stay till 5. I just feel like.
We look at each other and go, are we messing
And we
up?
talked about it for like 5 or 10 minutes. And I'm like, man,
Dude,
I think we're messing up.
We need
I really
to go
do.
back over there.
I think we are
The wind
messing
was
up.
ripping. It's like,
And wind was ripping through all these thinned out pines, so it's just
Loud,
blowing,
yeah.
and trees are almost blowing
Whipping.
halfway over. I'm like, I'm looking at the tops like, Dirk ain't gonna get up there tonight. Because this wind stayed for a good bit.
It was heavy.
Mm-hmm. Well,
We
decide-
shagged back over there.
Yeah, we decide. You know what?
We
let's
hooked it.
let's just go back and see. We don't know if them turkeys come back through there because we left a little early, Spencer. I know it's
We
all
know.
right. I had to learn this to be able for Sunday to happen. So I'm on cloud 9. I got this cool ass arrowhead in my pocket, and it's good. We're going to go see if we got any more turkeys. Let's walk by us, and we're walking back to where we were told not to move. And I ain't gonna lie
As
to you.
we're getting there.
Hold on, I ain't gonna lie to you. I thought Pruitt and our buddy Pee Wee was just messing with us. You know, it was like, oh, this turkey's coming, just trying to play with us. Well, they weren't really playing with us, and by the time we got back over there about 5:15, you think 5:30, maybe
Probably 5:30. Yeah, right in there.
And we've been gone about an hour and a half.
Look
and
down in the road.
as soon as we get to that Y again,
fresh.
I'm like, oh no, that wasn't there before. I'm talking about you being on top of the Empire State Building and then being underneath the Empire State Building. Like, I was ready to come back home. Like, let's go home. And not go back to camp.
A tear had dropped
we're leaving
from
Georgia.
his eye. He was sad, big sad.
And what do? First thing we did was we followed, see where they were going, and we followed them back out to where my truck was parked. I'm like, oh, these turkeys left the property. Because that wasn't very far from the gravel road, you know. And and where I was parked at, that little block, there's a cutover little sliver of bottom and pines and hardwoods, and then another cutover where the other turkey was roosted. So just to the east of that, we were walking up down there and towards the pickup truck, and you could see it plain as day. Them turkeys were just beat bopping around, having the best day of their life. You know, they're warm, they're cozy, they're dry.
Boom. F-150.
F-150. Hard right.
Detour quickly
into that cutover, and they kind of angles back towards the road. I'm like, God, I ruined this. You know, if I would be a little bit more patient, listen to my dad, that's told me this my whole entire life, deer hunting. Listen to our good buddy Pruitt. I mean, I'll admit when I was wrong. I was wrong as rain. And if I would listen to my buddies and my dad, just in general, you know, in hunting, be patient. For real. I mean, we would have killed a bird Saturday afternoon. I've been to work at Monday morning. Type deal.
We went back down there. And
we back
set
down
it
there
out till dark.
We saw where they walked 10 steps right in front of, or would have walked 10 steps right in front of us.
Yeah, rangefinder said like 7 yards. Like, come on. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me?
So, yeah, I'm like, I don't even give a crap about this arrowhead and yada, yada. I'm like, I'm just so depressed. And they're talking about going to eat Mexican that evening and had to get back. I'm like, I don't even want to eat. I don't even want to eat. I want to go to sleep. You know, ugh. Well,
man, if you didn't want to drown your sorrows, that is a really low.
I didn't even want to have a drink. Didn't even want to have a drink. Well,
that's a heartbreak only a turkey can give you.
Yeah, because I was so upset with myself. I'm like, I just go back and start thinking of all the times Dad told me I need to be patient, and all the times other people have said, hey, you know, patience.
We need to mental note this, because when you miss one, if you get this low, we're making
you might just want to give him the day off after that. That would be a bad day.
We just need to keep sharp objects from him, you know.
All rope-like material out of the tuning room.
Yeah. Well, we leave, and sure enough, we pull up to the camp, and I tell Dad, I said, well, we going to tell them how it really went? Said, sure.
Sure, I ain't got nothing to hide. I'm learning here. Yeah. I mean, let's get some experience here. Let us know, like, besides the obvious, is we should have stayed put.
Yeah,
I'm sure y'all heard about it from them for the rest of the night.
Yeah, we did.
I said, all right, Pruitt, you can go ahead and say it.
Like, told you so.
Just told you so, you know, say it, you know. And we tried to roost a bird that evening, didn't hear a single thing, and we were low.
Yeah.
We were real low. So our plan was just, well, we didn't booger up a single turkey there.
Yeah.
That whole day. Of all the places we walked and been around and tried to get around them, thinking they're doing this, thinking they're doing that. And we never made contact with them. They never really boogered up. And like, you know what? We're just going to go back to the same little spot. We're going to go to that
start there. That's where we're going to start.
But we're not parking the truck at that gate.
We were pumped, too, because really, I mean, we'd known these turkeys were around. Mm-hmm. We had just laid eyes on the whole landscape, and we knew how we were going to go in and attack in our simple ways, and knew that if we hear them over here where we need to get to, it was just learning a piece of property.
Yeah.
Was helping us out.
Yeah.
And we're ready for day 2 in the attack.
Yeah.
Buddy, we all got up the next morning and we're putting on lucky shirts, lucky belts, lucky hats, drinking a lucky cup of coffee.
In my pockets. I'm bringing this thing with me.
Arrowheads in every pocket.
I mean, we were about it that morning. Got ready, parked the truck further down the road.
Like probably
it was on.
How many 100 yards do you think that was? I mean,
from where we parked it from the day.
Quarter mile?
Yeah, it's a quarter mile. I mean, it wasn't too terribly far, but
No, but we parked to where all them birds in that area couldn't. If they got in that cutover, they couldn't see a vehicle. You know, we just leave it alone. Type deal. Let's just walk a little extra.
Yeah,
ain't gonna hurt us. Well, this is where the story gets real raw.
It gets pretty good, pretty good.
So,
boom, we hear one. We're sitting there waiting, going, all right, owl hoot, nothing. Give it a few. Pow, one hits, and we look at each other and just...
We're like, no way.
Oh,
no
right
freaking
on the
way.
other way of the cutover, or the little loadout where we were set up the day before. We stayed there late.
Yeah.
Never heard a thing.
He just flew up silent. Yeah.
Never said nothing. Bang. We take off, get down in there.
Isn't that crazy? Just for a second, that's one of those things about turkey hunting that still to this day blows my mind. Like, I'm okay not roosting a turkey because I know a lot of times they don't gobble him.
Yeah.
But it blows my mind every time it happens when I hear one gobble where I was sitting the night before, and I'm like, how did that stinking ninja fly up in that tree that close to me? It happened to me in Florida.
Yeah.
I mean, with Trip.
wow.
I mean, I sat all afternoon trying to roost a bird and didn't hear hide, didn't hear nor see hide nor hair of a turkey. And the next morning, there's one like 100 yards right here.
Oh,
I'm like,
yeah. Bonafide.
Yeah.
How did I not hear him fly up?
That's exactly
Yeah, he
how
was
they
probably
They
about
make a
100
ton of
yards.
noise.
Yeah, he was probably 100 yards from where we
Yeah.
were at.
Yeah.
Didn't hear him. You know,
Yeah.
well, so we heard him fire off. I'm like, yes, perfect scenario. He's below us.
Yeah.
yeah.
And he's got to come up, you
Yeah.
know. So we're, you know, and we get
Drake's
halfway.
doing a running motion
Yeah.
for those who can't see.
We get down there. I'm like, wait, hold on, we're being a little bit too loud. So we get halfway. I'm like, all right, let's eat.
Now we're excited. We eased in. We had already had it set up, planned. Okay, I went out there, threw a little decoy.
But as soon as we got there, before we put the decoy out, that joker went, "Tow." I'm like,
And then we realized just how close we had gotten to this man.
thinking we messed up.
Like,
Like
right,
too
I mean,
close,
he's right.
close.
yeah,
Like he right there.
yeah, like we're thinking he's
After the
just
fact,
on
when
the
the
downward
sun came
slope
up-
on that ridge, that he probably just flew it from the bottom, just like bloop, right there. You know, or from the top, or well, he couldn't have done it from the top because we were up there. But
You seen it. You could see quite a ways through there. I imagine if it had been light enough, we probably could
5
have.
minutes later.
We probably could have seen him in a tree. That's how close he was and through there. I mean, it was open, and it was like we were just not. Well, we didn't. It was pretty light outside, but we eased down the side of this thing and kept our bodies up against it and got in, slipped out there, plopped the decoy down, jumped back in. We sat on our same two trees and was like, okay, he's right there. It's go time.
Now we're sitting there. Now how this thing's set up? We got this loadout spot right in front of us, right? And we get back to 2 rows in on that little pine thicket.
Yeah.
These pine trees, how tall do you think they were? About 10, 15 foot, 15, 20 foot maybe?
maybe 15 or 20 right
Okay.
in there.
So, but it's real
8
thick.
to 10-year-old trees, probably.
Yeah, they hadn't been thinned. You know,
Yep.
it's real
Yep.
thick and nasty in there. And
About the size of a big cantaloupe was
Yeah.
how big these were.
yeah, so we're sitting there and he's gobbling, and I'm just waiting for it to just get a little bit later before we fly down, just so I can let him know that we're over here.
Yeah.
You know, what do? Get that Thunderdome out, hit him with the little nothing. Like, so I wait a second. I'm like,
Yes, he is. He knows where he
Welcome
is.
to the Thunderdome.
That is correct. Now it's live
and I
action.
think I call at him one more time, like a little bit later, you know, just, I said, you think we ought to give him a little bit of reassurance? Let him know we're over here. And it's that patient thing, you know.
Yep.
And sure enough, you know, I did, and he answered, like, all right, that's enough.
That's it. No, it wasn't
There's no
super
need to
aggressive
do.
or nothing.
I've heard enough from everybody. He's like, you don't want to call him on the tree too much. I wasn't going to try to do no fly down or anything like that. I just, hey, we're over here.
Yeah.
Just letting you know at some point in the day, y'all come over here. 'Cause we,
Yeah.
Oh,
Not-
the goodie bags were set. We were planning on sitting there. We were going to sit
Goodie
this
bags.
thing
not
out.
only
set.
now, not only did we think that we were going to be sitting out there all day long, everybody in the camp all made sandwiches, jerky bags, chip bags, tin
Boys
waters.
were ready.
Yeah.
Ready to go
like-
get amongst them.
Like we said, we're not coming out of these woods until somebody kills a dang turkey, by
Yeah.
God. And the whole entire time we're hearing this turkey fire off, our buddies, they're back down the way from us a little bit, and apparently they hear him fire off too. And so like, well, let's hoot one more time. Let's
if he fires off when we hoot, we're going in.
yeah. And
So,
sure enough,
he fired
he
off.
fires off.
He was hot as a match, is what Pee Wee would say.
Yeah. Well, Pee Wee and Pruitt, they get about, I think they moved in about 200 yards and sat down and come to think of it, like I was looking on the map. They were not very far. Maybe
it's just one of those
200 or
lost
300
in
yards from
translation
us.
things. He's gobbling where somebody's got to kill him, and
Yeah.
it just worked out. He started hammering, and we hear him, and you could hear him moving.
At 7:09, a truck drove by. I looked at my deal. I heard this truck come. I was like, "Oh, this is not going to be good." Truck goes by, shuts up. It's like, it's probably about right. Looks like we're deer hunting now. And he fires off again, but he's
he had
200 or 300 yards.
He had closed a lot of distance.
Like he's
Towards them.
Well, at first he goes away a little bit, and then next thing you know, you hear him, "Tow," a little bit more to the right, "Tow, tow," and I look over at that. I said, "You're finna hear a gunshot."
Oh yeah.
And sure enough, about 30 seconds, a minute later, after he gobbles, apparently Pruitt said that once they seen him and everything, he said he was strutting, doing his thing, drumming and gobbling, and he's just on his slate, just hammering on it, cutting it, doing the razzle dazzle, and and he's just said he gobbled like 7 times in a row without taking a breath, like that turkey last year you were talking about, just getting after it.
Yeah.
And sure enough, just, pow, shot him.
We just looked at each other and deflated.
About 5 minutes later.
What a jerk move,
Up and
Pruitt.
down.
I mean,
Up
just,
and down.
just slide right in, yelp one right out
Hey,
from underneath.
Complete disregard
Here-
for Drake
here-
not killing a turkey. Let me just slide
Here
through
Drake's
here.
trying to play the
Well,
old
no,
man
now-
card, just a
to be
little
fair-
fair, little.
To be fair, he was with Pee Wee, which is the guy whose property it was,
Okay,
So,
okay.
and they were hunting together. And
Okay.
I told Pee Wee, like right whenever, before the opening day and before Saturday, I told him Friday night, I was like, man, I take a lot of pride in figuring things out and doing things, myself, and not like last year I was going on a trip. I felt like I was being guided, like I was just walking around La La Land, just being told what to do, like bopping around. I hated that.
Yeah.
And I love it whenever I'm able to go by myself or go with
Yep.
Dallas or something, because we think alike and we're on the same page.
But you're learning.
Right.
And we're both talking it out with each other. It's
get
not
it.
like we're not hiding any thoughts here. It's like, what do you think about
Yeah.
this, and this? It's like, okay, and then we move forward.
So
like I said,
I'm
a lot of
talking
learning.
to I'm talking to Pee Wee and man, I just take a lot of pride in that. I'm not illiterate like in the turkey language for the most part. I've done so much research and and spent a lot of time in the woods. I've had a lot of wrongs that I've done that I've learned from, and I don't want to be babied. I don't want to be taken around. I want to figure it out myself. Even if I don't kill, it's all right. You know. Well, after they kill that bird, you talking about big sad.
But we recouped very quickly and said, no,
Patience.
We're going to be
Patience.
here. While all this was going on, there was a faint gobble in the background. I looked, I said, man, I think I heard another one. So if that one's dead, we're going to wait it out and give him some time.
Yeah.
And if we're a couple hours, nothing go by, then maybe make a move at that point. But we're going to give it a lot of good time here.
So after they shoot, apparently they go get the bird or whatever, and they're hanging out, and they hear another bird gobble it down on the opposite end of the property. So they start making it to there, and they're making their way. And at this time, they heard a hen fly down, which was in between us and them. And hen flies down. Couldn't really tell what it was. I didn't know what was kind of going on. And so I cut at her and yelped, and sure enough, she come up to us. And instead of going over there by the decoy that's out in front of us,
She was honed in on exactly where that sound had come from.
Oh, yeah.
She got 10 feet from us, and I couldn't see her because of a berm in front of me.
Yeah.
And she was just nice and easy, just like a.
Yeah.
I mean, it wasn't
Ain't
like
that
she was
crazy?
Oh,
It's like, how do you know that I'm right? And she's looking right into my
Yeah.
soul.
Oh, yeah.
And I've
It's
kind of positioned.
unbelievable, man.
So she flies down, and I cut, do all that stuff, and so I'm thinking, maybe I can get her fired up, and something will come check it out or answer me, or we can do something, and sure enough, man, I hear Dow say, "There's a turkey on her right." I said, "What is it?" I couldn't tell. I don't think he could tell, and so I just turned my head because there's so much stuff in between us and her at that point. And I was like, all right, I hear just kind of clucking and just walking. And then I hear, I'm like, ooh, he sounds good.
Oh, very, very, very vocal.
But like,
it was cool to hear all
the
of
quietest, like little purr, and it's dead quiet. There's like hardly any wind yesterday, and man, sure enough, thank God I had my head turned and was looking, waiting for her to pop out because I wasn't trying to get busted. I want to know where she was at, and right as soon as she gets to the top of that berm, I just see her head go,
There's 2 big clumps on the base of those trees.
And she's going, disappearing and coming back, disappearing. Like, she does that for probably 5 minutes, like trying to bust us like
catch you.
Like a
Yeah.
doe,
Yeah.
And every time she'd go, I kind of had it timed out. She'd come down, come up, come down, 1, 2, come up. And as soon as she went down that last time, I went, turn my head back to the left, and just enough to where I can cut my eyes at her and see something going on over here on my left, because that's whenever we heard them gobbles again coming up that road that was behind us up to that Y.
She had harassed us enough.
Yeah.
And she eased off.
It almost got to the point where I was just about to shoo her off, get her out of here. And
she eased off, and she's still in eyesight, and a gobble is closer now behind us. The same way that we kind of walked in, and it's like, she's walking the other way. I was in my mind thinking, I've always thought that they gobble and the hens walk to them. She said, no, I don't want nothing to do with y'all.
Yeah.
So great, fantastic.
But she's making some noise.
Oh,
She
yeah.
yelped at y'all.
yeah.
She got after it. She dipped down back on into the bottom that we were on top of, and you heard her getting after it and cutting up for a minute.
Was he gobbling at her?
That we were. This is something that we had talked about. Was maybe like, because he had gotten a little vocal after all that, after the shot and everything. She comes in, checks it out. She eases off. He's gobbling, and we had called as she dropped down into the bottom, probably 60, 80 yards away, and then he gobbled again, and then she cut up in the bottom, going, man, maybe, I don't, who knows? We can't talk to them. They're dead now.
Right, yeah.
But did maybe this hen going off, and we cut up, and then she cut up after he gobbled again, and then it sounds like we're closer, now they're further away. And then she eased off, and these suckers gobbled one more time, and then we heard them on top of the ridge.
And they were coming.
So I called, didn't do nothing, and that's when I hit him with the old Hunter Wallace or Josh Grossenbacher. Help. Oh, I'm like, yeah, they're at the Y.
Feels good, don't it?
It does.
There is a sound difference when these
Yes.
jokers were doing their things in a confined, in a woodlot or something.
Versus when they're looking at you like, I am coming to your
They were
tree.
looking down this road. All of that sound just echoed
And
through
we knew that
there.
That's
They're
the
up there.
heat-seeking missile drawn in on a target.
Oh.
You right there.
Oh,
Yep.
it's-
And the fact that they were up there, because whenever they're up there, they could look down that road and see our hen decoy that's sitting, because we positioned the hen decoy where they can look down that road and the other road. If they come from either way, they're going to see something. It's making noise. And I looked at him and said, "Are they at the Y?" He's like,
Contact.
I said,
Sure
all right.
enough.
So
Contact.
I get set. I whisper it over him. I said, "Get your phone."
only one
was
gobbling.
And crap you not. I'm saying crap because I don't want to cuss. I prayed. This is dead serious right here, dude. I prayed for probably every morning. I prayed, and that's the second morning. I spent a little extra time praying and asking for forgiveness.
Oh, Lord Jesus.
Dallas probably saw me step out in front of him, and I took my hat off. I took my hat off. I didn't bow my head. I just took my hat off. I just closed my eyes. I just started praying.
Lord, it's me again.
I'm sorry for cheating on that spelling test in the third grade.
So anyhow, well,
That is the single greatest thing I've ever heard in my entire life.
oh no, it gets better.
Oh, here it comes.
So they're at
Lord, I remember something I forgot this morning. I was 14, and Lord,
well, they're at the top of this ridge on this Y.
this is amazing.
Finna come down to us, and here I go again. You know what? A little prayer ain't gonna hurt. Kept my hat on this time. Sorry, Lord, but I couldn't move, and I prayed for probably, they gobbled and they were there. How long did it take them to get down there?
Less than 5 minutes. I mean,
Like
easing.
minutes.
They're just easing through. And
I prayed for probably a solid minute, and extra hard praying.
Meant it.
Yeah, it was the real
I was just
deal.
playing around before. This was for real.
Yeah, and as soon as I opened my eyes, about 10, 15 seconds, redhead.
He's on the barrel, and I'm back easing up.
And they're off to our left.
I'm gonna try to record this for him, especially with being a first turkey. And if there's one turkey, I'm not shooting.
Of course.
Yeah. Boom. Okay. All of a sudden, I see the second redhead, and that phone went MIA quickly. And I said, "Oh, damn! I'm not up on the damn gun right now. I gotta move." And I'm going, "Oh no!" He looks over and goes,
then guess what?
He goes, "There's four.
Another
of them."
redhead. Another redhead. And at this point, the sun has come up just enough to where it's shining right down that road. They're glowing.
Yeah.
Like the sun.
Red as that cup.
And
I mean, boy.
That is a color that nothing else in the world is.
No, I was going to say, it's way redder than that.
Oh, yeah. That is a deep,
vibrant
color red that does not exist anywhere else in
As soon as there's four, I couldn't help myself. I said, "There's four."
And they go.
And obviously he can see. I don't know why I even said that. It's like I was mic'd up or something, you know. And I guess I said it loud enough. They all stopped and they kind of lift their heads up. I'm like, "Oh no!"
Oh, they're in range right now. They're going. Well, something's still going to get shot, but it's not. Yeah, that's the whole thought.
And this
right
is the
there.
perfect scenario.
God, I'm back. I remember something else.
Lord,
So this is a perfect scenario of how this was set up. These two roads make a V basically, you know, or a 90-degree angle, and that turnaround's right there in the middle of that point. Well, they're coming from our left, and they won't be able to see us at all unless we're just over there waving our arms up and down because it's kind of thick. We can just see through it. And they come bopping around. There's this little berm that wraps around in front of us that helps keep us hid, so we're a little bit lower than the actual ground, you know, and kind of slumped down.
When they dropped their heads down, they dropped
the
their
coolest
heads.
sound I've ever heard in my life.
They dropped their heads down, and I threw the gun up, so I'm in position now. Now I'm not about to mess the whole thing up.
As soon as I say there's four, they all stop. And then I see about the second or third one in line and go,
spaceship.
And then the next one, and the
aliens.
Next one. I'm like,
It's happening.
And it gets louder and louder and louder. I'm like, but they're not in full strut. They're just like bowed up and just kind of
mad walking.
And their feathers are vibrating while it's doing it. And I'm like, oh my God, I've experienced nothing like this in my whole entire life. It's so cool. And
He got bit by the bug hard.
This is amazing.
yeah.
This is the single greatest turkey story I've ever heard in my life.
I'm going to have like a contract renegotiation on my desk tomorrow morning. It's like, hey, boss, you know those days during duck season? Could we move those to the springtime?
Oh, man. So they're doing their drumming deal and they're spitting, but they're not in full strut, and you can see their beard just kind of hanging down.
Isn't that a cool sound, though? You feel it as much as you hear it.
Yeah, we were talking.
It's so hard to pinpoint. I think you do feel it more than
how do
you
they make
hear
that
it.
noise?
I mean, they
Nobody
say it's
knows.
just their feathers bumping, but nobody really exactly knows.
I mean, if it comes from the crawl, if it's the feathers vibrate, nobody knows.
Like a cat purring. I mean, their feathers are definitely, like bumping each other kind of thing, but
is it enough to make a noise? I mean,
but I'll say this.
You know that sound once you've heard it.
When you you won't forget what it sounds like, but the next time you hear it, don't say to yourself, was that one drumming? Just say that was one drumming, because I've had that.
About like
that.
Whatever that was.
I mean, a lot of them will do that. They'll come in silent, and you'll hear them drumming, and you'll catch yourself going, was that one drumming? You'll turn and be like, he's right there. Yeah. You know what I mean?
And that's one of those sounds. If you hear it, he's in tight.
I had that happen last year. And,
yeah.
He's in the wheelhouse.
It's hard to make yourself do that, but when you hear that sound, you got to just go full tilt rigidity.
Yeah. So we see them drumming and doing all this stuff, and I'm like, oh yes, it's on. Once they drum, I was like, reassurance. They're not boogered.
They're not.
They're coming.
Yeah.
Okay. Right. At this point, they're probably 20 yards when they're doing this.
Through that,
20, 25 yards.
To 20.
And
they're not very far.
And judging by how all the tracks have been that we've seen, they hug that pine thicket. They don't go out in the middle of that, and they will mill around, but the majority, like the traffic, is
right there
up
on
against
turn 4. Yeah.
Well, so we had our little decoy set up, and sure enough, they turn that dang corner, and man, first one pops up right in my little. I've talked about that berm in front of me. Well, that berm was a little bit higher on the right side, and it kind of sloped down where I was at, and then it picked back up again. And once they got behind that berm on my left where they were hidden, nobody could see each other at that point. I go click, and I hear Dallas dropping stuff and getting ready, and as soon as they pop out, they come right to the decoy, and one, and then two, and like the other two are like literally right behind him, about to clear that berm, and and he goes, shoot it or kill him or whatever he says.
Who knows? Fire.
Yeah, fire.
I knew at least he's going to get
On
a
your
kill because I
marks.
was boy.
Yeah. So
set.
I think whenever he said that, they heard us. Obviously, they stopped.
Yeah. Oh,
and,
yeah.
and it was like, what was that type deal? And I was like,
Laid the hammer.
I was
down.
about to beat it down, and I put it right there on his wattle, and he
Cracked
just
him.
disappeared behind that berm. I'm like, oh yeah, he's crammed. Boom, and then Dallas goes, boom, boom.
Oh, when I shot, the one that was in front, and I guess this might have been a little greedy, but whatever. I mean, the first turkey that came out had a little baby beard on him, and I had seen as they were coming through, one of them had a better. There was three of them that were great. So I just saw all I had was the head down to the wattle. I mean, that's it. That's all I had to shoot at, and I was like, perfect. He's right. And when I said shoot him, he looked at me, and I said, "Oh, I'm crushing this guy." And he shot, and I'm just in my peripheral. I see him drop. Well, when he did that, it kind of startled me, and I pulled the trigger. Come to find out, it was a good shot, lethal, and I got up, and I mean, like, hey, these TSS shells are cheap whenever you fired one and you got a turkey that you think is possibly going to get away. He wasn't getting away. I just got up like it was
He ground checked him.
I got up and
One more for good measure.
I got up and I saw him flopping, and his head was kind of doing its thing. I said, "Whammy!"
His legs
shell
were
again.
kicking, trying to run.
I ain't. I'm not the one.
All this happened so fast. After he told me to shoot, I was like, all right, I guess he's on him. So I'm just gonna go ahead and we talked about doing 1, 2, 3,
Bang,
then
bang.
boom.
Yeah,
Never
that
works.
went out the window.
never
We
works.
couldn't do it because we were
Somebody shoots, somebody follows
Yeah,
up.
The operator's going to operate.
That's the best way you
And it's
gotta
we're
time
do
for
10,
us to-
15
it's
foot
time for
apart
us
from
to
each
kill.
other. We couldn't really communicate that good. And sure enough, boom, kill mine. He let some shots ring out. He ends up killing his. But in the process of me pulling the trigger, seeing that dude drop, I just dropped my gun and just head goes against the tree. He's like, oh my
And Papaw's out there running around like a chicken with his head. I'm going to get this turkey.
Yeah, in
I'm
my
making sure.
peripheral, I see Dallas just prancing like a deer. Zing! And bam!
Oh, yeah. I was making sure.
He said, I got him. I said, go get him. Just
so
exhaled everything.
4
And
years of stress and
Yeah.
getting whooped is gone.
And then I hear him let out a big
Oh,
old
I let it
and I'm
eat.
like, I just killed a freaking turkey. And that's why I get my phone out. I'm recording, taking my hat off. I'm hooping and hollering. I go up to him. And I'm like, God, look at this dude. He's so big, And at that point, his head was still more swollen up. And he's not so compressed like his chest is now. But he was fluffed up and
Huge.
perfect shot and didn't wrestle really any
and we're
feathers on
hooping.
it.
We're
Beautiful.
hooping. So here's a little piece on this. Our
Yeah.
buddies had decided that now we'll wrap back around to this. They had shot that bird. They
Yeah.
were doing their thing. They hadn't even left the bottoms yet because they heard one gobble. So they're getting assessed and going to go after him. Well, boom, bang, boom, and and our buddy goes, "Oh no, I'm not missing this." They just unleashed the hell on them, and 3 shots, and all of a sudden we're sitting here still just jack pumped, like
Give each other
hugging.
high
And
fives.
here they come, and here they come, bebopping.
Oh, that's
and he
awesome.
comes walking up the ridge. This turkey's flopping, his fans just doing this number, and they've got these grins. Like obviously, it's a good day at that point.
Yeah, it's great.
It's a great day at that point.
It's fantastic. Fantastic.
Yeah, we ended up probably sitting there for probably 45 an hour.
Soaking it up.
Yeah, I could have sat there even longer.
You don't want to leave, man. I get
Never.
it.
Yeah,
And that part never wears off.
No.
good.
I was skinning a turkey
When it
last
does,
year.
you need to quit.
Yeah.
I was skinning a turkey last year, and I was just breasting him out, and I was looking at him. I looked at my dad. I was like, do you ever wish you could keep every single feather off of a
Yes.
turkey? He said, every
Yes.
single one of them.
Every time.
It's going to be like that every
Well, I've only shot
single
2,
time.
but I
Yeah.
want to keep it the whole
Every
thing.
single, like, you're like, ooh, that one's pretty. I want to keep that one. Ooh,
You,
oh, wait, hold
you'll
on a minute.
get
They're all
better.
pretty.
You'll get better at it.
I'll
You'll
tell
get
you.
more efficient, but it'll never cease to wonder.
Nope.
The wonder and the amazement never goes away.
It is the same
they're
now as
beautiful.
it was when I was 10 years old. It has
Honestly, it
never
may
stopped.
be. It may get better. I mean,
Now that you say that, I think it does, because the more you do it, the more you learn, the new things you learn to appreciate about it.
Well, and we've talked about that the whole weekend since this is going down. Like we're fresh to this.
Yeah.
I would consider us pretty decent woodsmen.
Yeah, sure.
Been around, done, hunted for our whole lives. This is something that neither one of us has got a lot of experience
Yep.
in. So like we're all learning this so new, and it's
Yeah.
so great. And it's like, okay, like be tactful here. What do we need to do? How do we need to do it? What do we need to go about looking for, finding, scouting? It's just a whole new ball game.
Yeah.
Well, I think one of the things that's so cool about sitting there and reflecting, to me anyways, is that almost every time that I shoot one and I sit there and think back about the decisions I made that got that one killed,
Yeah.
I can remember the birds that screwed me over.
Oh,
That you learn
That
from.
I learned from. And so that's why I say the more of them you kill, the more of them you sit back and you appreciate it and you go, you know what? There was about 5 or 6 of your kind that did what you did that
Taught
I
me
walked
what I
out
needed to know.
pouting.
That you just
Lip
bit
stuck
and pieced
out.
away.
Yeah,
Yep.
just think I'm a loser.
Yep.
You know,
We had one run us raw last year. I mean, we
Yeah.
put a lot of miles in trying to, work around this turkey. And, like, when we were done, I was like, you know what? We're going to learn more off of birds that we didn't kill.
Oh, every single
100%.
time.
You're going to learn something different every single time.
Every single time.
but that's
If you don't learn something new every time you step off in a turkey wood, you're doing it wrong.
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah, I can agree with that. Agree with that with a lot of things, actually. But yeah, man, overall experience, I'm ready to do it again.
Unmatched.
it definitely make
Yeah.
you want to do it again.
Pee-wee had his stepbrother in camp, and he was supposed to go that morning with his dad, and he went and seen his old lady that was down the road, I guess, and just stayed out too late and just didn't make it in the morning. And he got to camp mid-morning. We're all hanging there having us a drink and having us a good old time. They're all sitting on
Having
a rock.
a day.
Yeah. And
It was a killing day. Several other guys around there
I told him,
put them down, too.
I said, Sam, I'll tell you something. Them women, they'll get you killed just like them 3 did.
I remember an old man that used to say that to me all the time. Have you told Dallas that?
Drake is the old man, the old wise wizard.
Well, from the time I was a little kid.
Yeah, I got it from him. Yeah.
My daddy, whenever we'd shoot something that was rutting or had love on his mind, he'd stand on his head and he'd look at me and he'd say, "Love got this one shot in the face, and it'll get you shot in the face too,
Yep.
boy."
That is correct. But yeah,
It's a good feeling to, have some success, but back to it is just the thinking about what did you do to make this happen? And we could have killed those birds the day before, and it was okay.
and talking about the full circle, man, going into a new property we've never been to, seeing most recent sign, and trying to, in our heads, put together what it all means, trying to figure out why they're doing what they're doing, all this, that, and the other. And, I mean, that Saturday afternoon, we thought that we had them dialed in and that we were going to cut them off. Well, they were being turkeys, and they turkeyed us, and that wasn't the case. But
Patience.
Yeah.
That's super cool. I'm proud of you.
Thank you.
That's a dang hammer.
Yeah, even my wife, Lauren, she said, I was talking on the phone. She said, well, you got to get him mounted, I guess. I'm like, okay.
Yes, ma'am.
That's a big old bird. I think you need to get him about half strut, just full gobble.
Yeah. That's what I was wanting to do. There was a turkey at the lodge that we were staying in that was like that, sitting on a limb. It looked really cool.
Here's one piece that was interesting, too, is so that bird that we had set up on early, and, we had seen the bird the day before right in there, and then our buddy shot that bird gobbling. It was a gobbler with no beard. Huge.
It's the same bird that we saw.
Really?
Same bird, no beard. That's why we didn't shoot. Didn't have a little Jake beard sticking out. Didn't have nothing. Didn't even have a spot on his chest where the beard should have been. Crazy. Huge.
That's pretty uncommon for an eastern.
And his
you see that a
legs-
lot out west.
His legs were almost white of how I'm assuming his a really old turkey.
Yeah, or he could have had a malnourishment. Like a lot of times out west, the reason they have such shrimpy, or at least what they say is crummy beards, is because of just malnourishment. Our turkeys have a lot more nutrients available to them and water, but harsh conditions make it hard for them to grow that beard for whatever reason. And
something that was mentioned that's just interesting, the length of the bird is the full tilt way to dictate how old he is. That big bird with no chest or no beard, his fan was 2 inches,
Yeah,
inch and
2
a
inches
half
longer than that one.
than the other birds that showed up to camp, and it was
Yeah.
like, no, this is a big bird.
Yeah.
Okay, it's a big chicken.
His fan was ginormous.
It's
And
huge.
he probably
He
weighed.
could have just been on the decline, an
Yeah.
old one just on his way down.
He was about 5 pounds heavier than that dude.
Kind of like a whitetail to get
Yeah.
7, 8, 9 years old. That rack starts.
Yeah.
to shrink.
That man got that old because he didn't have no beard on him. nobody was
full
was
of a lot of
shooting
folk.
him.
Man, I saw a goblin hen this morning. You wouldn't believe it.
Yeah, I'll be.
Man.
But yeah, once Pee Wee and Pruitt got there, we're all celebrating, taking pictures, hanging out. I was like, same time, same place next year.
Boy, I'm talking about an incredible experience from all of it. You know,
Yeah.
just being there with the guys and getting
Going
to shoot
from-
a turkey and highs and lows.
going
and,
from ultimate highs to way low and back up again, and just
But
wrapping it up.
From as much as the two of y'all have duck hunted, now you understand
I get it.
This is so polar to duck hunting.
Mm-hmm.
Like I still love to duck hunt, but like you get to January 28th, and do you want to shoot another limit? Yes, but are you tired of the drama of who's going to be, where are we racing? I mean, it's like this is like the perfect anecdote to the chaos of duck season. I just
Absolutely.
love it, man.
There's something about it that I guess there's people out there that probably don't do it right and everything, but I'm gonna tell you right now, it's so pure when you get one to be right there, and then you're getting ready to lay the hammer down, and then to have be with one of your best friends, and he shoots his first one, and I'm not that experienced with it, and I shoot my second one, and it's like, oh, we lived that together.
We did this on our own. Like
Yeah.
2 rookies caught up 4 mature Eastern
and
gobblers.
We have to give a solid shout out to Ramsey on that, because I mean it was like
Pee Wee.
He's one of our best buddies as well. We're all in duck clubs together, and he said, "Man, if you want to come up to the farm and y'all shoot a bird,
That's awesome.
Come on." And it was just like, thank you for allowing us to do that. And his dad,
yeah, and the
man,
more
they're
of them
all
you
great.
shoot, the more you'll understand how hard it is to share them.
That's what we were talking about on the way home. Like, no wonder everybody's so skinny with these turkey pans.
There ain't nothing
me
better.
a while.
There ain't nothing better than somebody else's turkey.
Yeah.
All I'm doing is asking, like, hey, man, well, years ago, I've been trying for a few years. Only
Right.
found success last year. Thank you, Spencer Pruitt. And I just wanted to go to see how the whole thing gets put together. What are we
Yeah.
looking for? I want to go with another woodsman. I want to go with somebody who's got some salt and knows their
Yep.
thing. And anyway, so we just started putting it together and was soaking up every bit of knowledge from anybody that was
Yep.
around to say, like, okay, like, it's like listening to a podcast, except these people are at your disposal. Like,
Yeah.
hey, man, this is what happened. What do you think? And that's back to it. As after I've killed 1 or 2, no. That's why it was so hard to get in there, because
Yep.
they're sought after.
Yeah.
You shoot 1, I mean, man, it's not like ducks. There's not 50 coming into a hole, and you can all rip off at them, and you kumbaya. You want all your boys there. This is a little bit more personal.
It
Mono,
is.
mono.
Man, oh yeah,
Exactly.
Yeah.
But
Old Gert should have been there.
oh,
Yep.
Drake told me, because he was on the bead and I was getting down, and he
I
said,
was going to wait.
he said we should have
my landing
videoed.
ducks thing kind of kicked over. I was going to land these turkeys. I was going to get greedy and let them all get in there and bum rush the decoy, do their thing, and pick out the best, prettiest one. And
Well, let me.
Nah.
You get
mature
it.
gobbler's a mature gobbler, no matter what. There's
he said,
no
"I'm
full
on the
fan,
bead."
full gobbler.
Yeah.
No, I said, "Shoot."
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
This is good. We've gotten a show. I want to eat. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Time to let her bark.
There's also, I was fixing to say, there's also so much you can take that you can't hold it no more.
Oh, that was it.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess maybe the more you kill, the more you kind of get.
Well,
No, as soon as
at
I
that-
get a window, I'm
At
squeezing
that,
it
I was
off.
going to say, at that point, you've won.
Yeah.
It's not like landing them on the water quite like ducks. I mean, because it's pretty hard to window shop one, treetop them. You know what I mean? With a
Right,
gobbler.
yeah.
When you get him inside gun range, you've done your job.
Yep.
And, I mean, anything past that, you're kind of walking the dog. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
you're asking for fate
Yeah.
to take over. You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
I'm gonna tell you
That's
what,
another thing. You
those
let him
shells are brutal.
stick around too long,
Oh,
he's gonna make you regret it.
He had that head poked up, and we had already made something. We'd already made him, look at us once, and the second time, when one of them looks over at me, and he's just peering into my soul, and I knew he was beaten down, and he's got a chip shot, and I'm over here looking, and I said, when that sucker peered at me, I was like, no, we're about to fight. And
Yeah.
fire,
Yeah.
unleash,
Yeah.
let it rip, Tiger Chip.
That's awesome. Y'all will never forget that.
Nope, absolutely not.
It's such a cool thing to learn. I still contest there's nothing else in nature that'll teach you the way those critters will. Because you can be close to a mature deer and never know it 100 times. You know, I mean, unless you see him or you get a trail camera picture of him, you don't know when you've boogered him up. You know, you don't know that he's bedded down a couple hundred yards over there and scent blew to him and he slips out. But like a turkey just has a way of telling you, you lost. You lost. Whether it's leaving a track on a road like you're talking about or whether it's getting in close and putting, and nothing
Hanging
else
out,
really,
yeah.
Ducks don't even do that to you. Like you can be working ducks and then they lose their attention span and go over there and you just wonder, did I do something? Was it something? You don't really know. But man, turkey's got a way of rubbing your nose in it and going, you lost, I win.
What's a piece of advice that was given to you when you first started getting
That's a good
in
question, Dal.
and saying like you still remember
that you follow every time you go home?
You're like this is there's a little recipe to success here, and I'm gonna follow my recipe, and if it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't.
Mute.
I mean, that's a great question. I would just say it can always change at the drop of a hat.
Yeah.
I mean, and
Yeah,
you can
that
go
is true.
like when I heard y'all telling your story and how down you were the evening before, like, I mean, I would just say, man, just sit down and start yelping. He might turn around. At the end of the day, he's not smart. He's just scared.
Yeah.
And so you have to think like a turkey, and he doesn't think about why. He just does turkey things.
Yeah.
His
Expert
brain's about the
survivalist.
size of a
Instincts.
pea.
Yep.
And he's thinking about
Survival.
hen cloaca and don't get eaten. Like that's the only two things on his mind, you know? And so you just kind of, it's hard to stay with it when it's not working right, but I've just seen it turn, on a dime so many times. Like you sit there and think nothing's happening, and then all of a sudden there's one right there in your lap, and you're just like, oh! I mean, it goes from 0 to 60 so fast. Kind of like y'all, you thought you were on a bird, somebody else shoots it, and then 5 minutes later, here you got 4 just breathing fire.
Yeah. Oh,
Like
it was a day.
It
was a good day.
That's kind of there's lots of little ones, but it can just always change. And one thing, it sounds cliche, but you can't kill them on the couch. So if you're not out there in the woods, it can't happen, and
You never know if it will unless you go.
Yeah. Half of us being there.
Miles get put on the feet. Walk.
I think it can happen in an instant is one that definitely rings true. But another one that my dad always told me growing up hunting was it's 2 parts. One, if you think you should call, don't. And number 2, if you think you should move, wait a little bit longer.
Yeah, we're going to dial in on that one. We learned that.
There's a real fine art to understand their body language and when you can and can't move, and that's something you'll get better at. Like you'll understand, I can move right now, and I don't even have to try to hide it. I can just go, I can just lean forward and move around a tree. And then there's other times when you'll go, I can't take a breath. I got to close my eyes. He's looking into my
Yeah, I close my eyes on that hen.
Well, there was a little something talking about the language that learning from guys obviously that have been doing it, and it's talking about how their little nose goober thing, their snood,
Nose goober thing.
if it's hanging over, they're confident, they're comfortable,
relaxed.
But if that thing starts to shrivel up and you're that close, you better get on it. It's time. It's time to make it eat.
The other one I'll tell you that's easier to see than that is that wing tuck.
Yep. If they fold that wing, he's gone.
And they're in there drumming and they're doing their thing. If one of them just goes whoop and puts that wing back behind his back, you better kill him.
Yep.
You got about a 3 count, and he's disappearing. Yep.
Wow.
Yeah.
And
you either need to assess what you did wrong or swing.
And that's the time at which you don't go, I better hold still. It's like, no, you better click your safety off and take it or not.
Trigger.
But anyways, it's cool that
I could ask questions about these sorts of things for hours. Now that we've had some success, and now it's like I want to be better at this.
Yeah.
I want to do this. I want to be able to make the sounds like you need to talk to them.
You'll get better at it. You'll get confidence, and then one of them will just rub your nose in it again, and you'll bounce back, and then you'll kill one, and you'll go, yep, it was your buddy. Your turd sniffing buddy over there that got you killed.
We we got a bone to pick with one off in the mountains.
Yeah, we do.
He rubbed me wrong one day, and the one that taught me a good lesson. Like I said, I'd never had my heart rate like that, and I didn't kill this turkey. It was fantastic, but he came in, and I'd walked in there after, and some guys had left, and it was a good area. I was going to go in and kind of be a rookie and go in and just do like the deer hunt. Mm-hmm. I said, okay, and if one fires off while I'm in there, then I'm going to slow. I take it real easy when I try to do things like that. And I got in there. I hit a little something on top of a ridge, and I heard him hit down there. So I shucked off, got down in there. It's probably an hour and a half, and I'm sitting there just every 15 or 20. I do it real easy, set it down, and I hear what you were saying about the drumming. Mm-hmm. He came in silent, and it was just that. All of a sudden, I was leaning up against that tree, almost into a little nap time, and I said, "Oh yeah, okay." And then I'm like trying to put my eyes left to right, and I can feel it more, and then I start really. The periph goes. There is a big black ball to my right, about 25 yards. He's right there. Mm-hmm. He came in, and here's one thing, a mistake that I made that learned from. You're going to have to survey the scene a little bit harder, because as I didn't know he was there until he started drumming, well, what I didn't pay attention to was the hen that was behind a tree in front of him coming down the same road. So when he got behind this big root ball, I got up on my knee and was getting ready, and I had it. He was going to be 15 steps. I was going to smack him. As soon as I get down on my bead and I'm looking down, boom, I'm looking right at a hen, and she putts and takes off, and then he just eased off, and I couldn't get a shot at him. Yeah. But that's just a lesson learned right there.
That reminds me of another thing that I learned growing up turkey hunting was, if you're confident enough to set to one, be confident enough that he's going to show up at any moment. So don't be sitting there with your legs crossed, gun across your lap, yelping at him pretend like he could show up at any second. Right. Because a lot of times they will come in silent, and especially the old ones.
It's a lot like pitching a baseball. You know, they say a major league pitcher, the day he believes somebody can hit the stuff he's throwing is the day he probably needs to hang it up. You know, you got to think that you're throwing stuff that's more than what the batter can handle.
Yeah.
And in my mind, I think you have to always think
you're in the game.
Yeah.
Well, you have to always think that just because I can't hear him gobble doesn't mean one didn't gobble at my yelp out there. Yeah. You got to have that much confidence. And when you sit down, you're ready all the time. It's like, I remember my dad telling me, you have to pretend like there is a turkey behind that tree looking at you the entire time.
Yep.
Everything you do, stealthy, because you'll end up walking right up on one.
Yeah.
I mean, you'll and you won't mean to, or you'll be sitting there and ready, gun up, and then all of a sudden, like, whoa, you're in the presence of a turkey, and it's like, how did he get there?
Yeah.
I mean, you don't know. Like, they live in tunnels.
Houdini.
Houdini.
Yeah. Well, and not only just because you didn't hear him gobble doesn't mean that he didn't gobble at you, but just because he didn't gobble at you don't mean that he ain't coming.
And he's not there.
Yeah.
I mean,
or he's not already on his
way.
You know?
Yeah.
So one of the things we talked about was, like, when we got up in that time and was trying to go strike one up, what do you think's the best way to strike one up?
What time of day?
You just cover ground and
it's
just
so situational.
Or
I would say it's situational based on a couple things, but the primary one for me would be how much ground I have to hunt.
Mm-hmm.
So
say you had about 1,700 acres. Would you still be sitting there?
It just depends. I mean, trees, open fields, wind, not wind.
The energy that they're giving you.
But you can hear one at 1,000 yards pretty well.
Yeah.
Through an opening. You can, you can't hear one through dense pines that whole way. But, like, if I wasn't in the game, if what you're asking is what would I be doing, man, I'd be walking and calling,
Yeah.
I'd be walking and listening. It's vanilla ice cream. It ain't real sexy anymore, but I blow a crow call a lot. If I can make one gobble before he hears a hen sound, that's what I want.
Yeah.
I try not to locate with a call.
that's another lesson
that we've learned
last year on that same turkey that
you'll find one, especially later on up in the day. You just go to locate, and man, he gobbles. He's 75 yards right there. You're toast.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You ain't killing that bird.
Right.
Unless there's a hill between you and him, and you can sit down. But so I just try to always call sort of like a lawyer, you don't ask questions you don't know the answer to.
Yeah.
I try not to call and not know what I'm going to do.
Right.
Yeah.
Like before I call, I try to mentally think, all right, I'm sitting at this tree. I try to imagine where I think he's going to be. I just don't blindly call. You know what I mean?
Right.
But
I'm also not going to call at a level of intensity that they're not experiencing. Like if you hear one that's gobbled once or twice on the limb, then hits the ground and shut up, I'm not going to go, blowing it down, trying to cover ground to him. But if he's running the bark thin on a tree, yeah, I'm gonna reciprocate that. That has a lot to do
Match
with
his
it too.
intensity.
Exactly.
Hot as a match, I'm coming in.
Yeah.
Okay.
What does Will Primos call that? Taking their temperature.
yeah, and everybody does that a little different. I'll tell you, you yelp really well.
Yeah.
I haven't heard you
thank
yelp
you.
Dallas.
Oh,
Dallas.
no.
But as well as you yelp, you need to be aggressive after he flies down. Let him fly down, but then get on his butt.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what got that first bird killed. You know,
that's how Pruitt killed it. He got aggressive
right.
with it.
Yep.
And it won't always work,
Yeah.
but it works 80% of the time. And
if he's hot and you're hot back, he's coming.
But I just totally lost my train of thought. But
Match their intensity.
Yeah.
Match what they're giving. If they're giving it to you, you take it. I mean, it's like talking about ducks. Start out light, and if they need more, give them more, and then give it. Find that fine line, and then
you also have a window. I feel like they've got attention span, and so while you're trying to match their intensity, you're also there's different thoughts on this. But I'm also not trying to give out someone a gun all day. You know, I want to act like, all right, big boy, like we're either going to do this right now
Clock's ticking.
Right.
or you're going to have to find somebody else. And so, there's a fine line between, I ain't going to just sit there and give him a 5-note yelp, for 5-6 hours. I mean, he's going to get that twice, and then I'm going to cut at him, and then I'm going to get more, like I'm going to push him as hard as I can push him because you're trying to get him to do opposite of what's nature.
Yeah.
can you get them to fire up?
Oh, yeah.
I was
calling
just
at them like that.
That was going to be my next point. Was going to be is sometimes you can force that energy into them.
Yeah, you can
Sometimes.
definitely,
Sometimes.
you can stoke a fire. You can get it,
Yeah.
get him, you get a little flame burn and then you put something else on it and something else on it before long and you got a bonfire. I mean, that's definitely, you do that with calling, more than anything else.
Yeah.
Some of them will just be hot and come on to die.
That's their day.
Period. Yeah, that's their day. That's right. But when you got one that's, kind of being a turd or got hens with him, you gotta pull it out of him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But all that's just,
That's the great thing about turkey hunting is because there's no definitive answer to any of the questions that you've
and
asked.
the more experience that you have,
you never
And
know
you'll-
until you go.
you'll learn
you
something.
play that back in your mind going, I've done this, and this before to kill turkeys. Boom, none of it's working. Bang.
Right.
Gobble conch.
Yeah.
Tried roosting one with that, didn't work.
Yeah. Sometimes early in the year, they just don't gobble on the roost a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
These birds, they didn't gobble very much in the mornings. Leading up to it, they said, man, they hadn't been gobbling in first thing in the mornings or in the evenings. They've been gobbling about 10:30, 11 o'clock. I was like,
yeah.
okay, from what I've been told, that's all right there.
That means
By the
they're
time
breeding
their
a
hens
lot.
leave them- Yeah.
Yeah.
That means they're roosted close to their hens, and they go listen to that Gamekeepers podcast with George Mayfield.
All four of them.
The most recent one is the best they've done yet,
Absolutely.
I thought. But George talks about you got to put yourself in the mind of a gobbler. Every time he gobbles, he's putting himself in harm's way.
Yeah.
So he's making a decision. Do I want, a girlfriend or do I want to be eaten?
Mm-hmm.
And gentlemen, we've all been in between that rock and a hard place. You know what I'm saying? I mean, and we
Rage
all
on
do a
it.
lot of gobbling, but it's risky business,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah,
and so just because he's not gobbling, that may mean he's just got all the girls he can handle at the
And that's
moment.
also
It
why
may not-
turkeys drum.
So hear me on this. Here's another one that I've got. So 4 of these guys came in, okay, and they were all mature birds. You had the one big dog. Obviously, we don't really know which one it was that was gobbling. I would imagine it
It's
was
probably this one.
It's probably
If it
big
wasn't
meat
this
here.
one, damn.
But I mean, what's the social structure like on that? Like, there's 4 of them there, and he's the only one.
Probably 3 brothers and a Jake. And that Jake had just kind of outgrown mama and he joined up with a bachelor group. But they won't be grouped up like that long. Another 2 weeks, they'll be separated.
When they start separating and searching, is that
early season kind of stuff is when they're grouped up like that.
But their social structure is they live in a group in the wintertime and by gender typically, except for the Jakes. The Jakes will tend to run with a group of hens. And then the Jakes will start to pair off and get with a group of gobblers, as the early spring wanes on. But like traditional early spring, first week of April is going to be groups of 2 and 3 gobblers.
Yeah.
You're more likely to call in a group of 2 or 3, 4, just like y'all did, than you are to find one by himself. Now, if you find one by himself, you probably you're going to look like Michael Jordan dunking a basketball. Like it's going to be a piece of cake.
You got a good,
I feel like
good
Michael
good
Jordan's God.
Yeah.
Sunday morning, man.
Yeah.
You telling me that my rookie tail is out here and caught up 4 mature gobblers? Like,
Yeah.
thank you, Lord.
Yeah.
Well, going back to the George Mayfield podcast, on one of the early ones that they did last year, 2 years ago or something like that, he said that your best chance at killing a turkey is going to be the first time you yelp at it. The first time he hears you yelp, that's going to be your best chance to kill him. Because you go back in there day after day, he hears the same stuff. He's learning just as much as you are, if not more.
Yeah.
Every time you go hunting.
The best time to kill a big buck is on your first sit.
That's
Same
right.
sort of thing.
Same thing.
Yep.
Educating.
And that's why it's kind of always that, how hard do I push him? Because it's like, you want to push him. You got to think whether I push him or not, he's learning from me. So, like, you want to push him enough to not spook him, but enough to kill him. You know what I mean? You want to push him to the brink of death.
Yeah.
Otherwise, the next time you come in there, it's going to be a lot harder.
Time and experience is going to teach you that.
Yeah.
Rob was not happy with me last year, but he screwed around with the same bird about 3 or 4 times. And he's like, "Boss, what do I do?"
I remember this conversation.
I was like,
Leave him
"No."
alone.
I was like, you tip your cap and you go find you another one.
Yep. Try again
Someone
next
going to
year.
have a PhD in a Rob Cadet. It's all over with. Like you just,
You start hitting that 3 or 4 times, you better be on your A.
I remember whenever he was asking you about running a pot call. We were in the barn, and I was sitting there, and he showed what he did, and first thing you were saying was like, "Man, it sounds weak. It's almost like it's like, hey, I'm over here. I mean, you can come over if you want."
Yeah.
And then you got a call, and you went, "This is typically how you'd want to do it," and what predominantly works a lot, not saying most of the time, but a lot of the times.
Yeah.
When you showed us, you went a good solid 2 to 3 cuts, like not no little wimpy, not no little wimpy, just like thou. Like 3 to 5, then cut it down.
Well, you got to think. I mean, we're all dudes, right? Longbeard thinks exactly the way that we think. So you got to put yourself at a bar on a Friday night, and which girl is going to get your attention in a bar? Is it going to be, the pudgy one that sits in the corner and kind of looks at the floor, or is it going to be the one that walks in and just like, brushes your shoulder as she walks by and then cuts her eyes at you and then says something smart from the other end of the bar? Like, that's the girl who's going to make you get up, walk down there, buy her a drink. Now, as a happily married man, I haven't done that in 20 years, but I can put myself in that situation.
But you're still a guy.
But that's what you're doing when you're the hen turkey. You're walking in there and you're going, all right, you other loose suckers in here, you ain't got as much to flaunt as I do, and you trying to close the deal as fast as possible.
Yeah.
And so
I can't remember who said it to me, but he said you want to go in the woods calling like you're a girl walking into a bar wanting a drink for free.
Yeah. It's
demand attention.
So
This
really
may have to be 2 episodes.
really the last thing I've got is this. It's just, little tidbits that I read about and look up and things like that. We got these great hammer shells. They make them.
Yeah.
Okay. Very lethal at what I'm going to call, as a new turkey hunter, turkey range. Okay. What is your inside of range? Like, I never got into looking and going, all right, these shells are capable of shooting 70 yards and killing a turkey. I don't think that's like bow hunting. For me, I don't think that's not. If I saw one at 70, I'm not slinging it out.
One out there.
I thought the whole trick to this thing was to get him as close as he can get.
Like, what's our bubble? What's my bubble?
What do you think's an appropriate bubble?
It depends on what I would say generally 40, But if they're committed like those four were,
Oh, yeah.
he'll step on my boot for all I care.
Oh, absolutely.
You know? But
I mean, the will it kill a turkey out past 40? Absolutely. It's embarrassing how far it'll kill one.
Yeah.
Okay. But
It's like
To me, it's
tree
a-
jacking a duck.
exactly,
Yeah.
it's a lot like shooting ducks.
You can shoot 'em.
like,
But did you win?
so answer this
go.
question: did you shoot a duck getting out of the hole on your third shot this duck season? Of course you did.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course.
Probably at 50 yards, maybe even at 60. And you're like, whoa! But you know what? Your first shot was that one right here down his nostrils.
And
you know
you
what I
got-
mean?
you won
And
then.
so,
Yeah, exactly.
you won.
Oh, yeah.
So have I killed one at long range? Yes. But typically it's because I missed with the first shot or somebody else shot one. But like, I don't like shooting out past 50,
Yeah.
even if they're getting out. Now, if one's getting out, I'm going to shoot until it goes click, right? But that's not. That's cleaning up and trying to make sure he's not crippled and all that. That's a different set of variables. But he gets inside 40, you know, that's I feel like I've won.
yeah,
It's the pride range.
That's
the
just like what
lethal
you
range
just
is
said.
out there.
Oh, it should never be spoken of how lethal tungsten can be. But it's just like you said, you turkey hunt to play the game.
Right.
Yeah.
And once he's inside that bubble, you won. You know? And so,
Checkmate.
exactly. And
And
I would say 40 is probably a good bubble.
I also, if I have a decoy out, it's probably a different answer than without one. Without a decoy, when he's coming through the woods and he's doing what that hen did, y'all, and he's looking for the base of he's looking at the base of the tree that you're sitting on. Man, he gets to 60. If it's any kind of open woods and you and him can see each other, every step he takes after that is pins and needles.
Yeah.
Because he knows he should be seeing that hen. And you're probably not still yelping at him. And so he starts getting nervous because here you went from this hot chick who was asking for the business to all of a sudden now you decided to play.
Where's she at?
Exactly.
Where'd she go?
Yeah.
And so that turkey knows intuitively that when things get quiet and the temperature feels different, he's about to get had.
Yeah.
He don't know whether you're a bobcat, a coyote,
around.
or
exactly.
a end of a 12 gauge shotgun. So like if I don't have a decoy that he's looking at, man, he gets to 40 yards and I'm letting her eat.
Yeah.
I mean I'm trying not to let him get past me. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like it's a cat and mouse game, and it's time to do the deal.
Yeah.
But if I got a decoy and he's still coming, yeah, I'm gonna let him get close and close as I can.
Well, it's kind of like what you and I were texting about Saturday afternoon when you were talking about that log pile in between you. I was like, that's perfect.
Yeah.
Now
He
he
was-
has to come look for you.
Yeah, he's going to pop out
Yeah.
like literally.
Because then
5
at that
yards.
point, he can't get 60, 75 yards and see where you're at and go, I'm good.
Yeah.
There's nothing over there. Like, you put something in between you and him that he can get around, that's perfect. That's
Yeah.
exactly how you want to play. it.
Right. Yeah.
I'm hiding behind this log jam.
Was in fact
Seriously,
not a
you,
Jake.
yeah, you have to when you set to a turkey, you kind of got to visualize where you think he's going to come down, and you got to make him come around something to come and find you. And when he gets around, whatever you want him to come around is in range. So like
That's
if I
a
want him
hard-
to come around the back end of my car, I want to be within 30 yards of that.
that's a hard thing because when woods are really open,
Yes.
your inclination is going to be to want to see him and his body language the whole time. But if you can see him, he can see you.
Right.
You're asking for him to hang up, But shoot, man, it's
playing some terrain to your advantage, and
It can be a blowdown. It can be a ridge top. It could be a field edge. I mean, something that can create a visual barrier between you
Right.
and him until where it is to a point where he can see where that sound is coming from.
Then
you
then
got to
he's
beat
lost.
on him now.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
That at that point, it's game over, checkmate. You know.
interesting. That's good stuff.
But man, what a weekend.
Oh man,
I got to give a shout out to Pee Wee, man. He didn't have to invite us down
No,
there
he
to do
didn't.
that.
That's big.
And,
That's big time.
and I, quite honestly, I was on the fence because me and Pruitt talked about going to his place over there and around Nashville.
I didn't want to tell you, but when you were like, I think I'm gonna sandbag Georgia just so I can go to Nashville, I wanted to be like,
Messing up.
I wouldn't sandbag anything. I'd
Yeah.
go. And
You gotta go
worst
get a
case
month.
scenario.
I was, cause I hadn't really told Lauren all about it because I was watching the weather and it didn't really look prime, weeks leading up to it. And that week before, not this past week, but week before last, me and Dallas were talking on the phone and man, I was kind of on the fence. Like, I don't know, it's kind of softly bringing it up to Lauren. So it's just not like a bomb dropped on her, because quite honestly, sorry, Lauren, I kind of forgot to tell you, and it really slipped up on me. And I'm sorry you had to spend this weekend alone. I love you, but man, I really love hunting. But going back to it, man, he didn't have to do that, and will always be extremely grateful.
The more of them you kill, the more you'll understand just how. I mean,
and his place is unreal.
Yeah, that's wild.
Next
the
year,
pictures look
next year, we may have to bring a +1.
Yeah. Yeah. Now you understand why people are stingy about their turkeys.
Yeah. Now you get to tangle with one of these old swamp gobblers down the road.
I'm ready. I got a little confidence now.
Don't get too much.
Yeah, I was
It
gonna
will
say.
humble you quick and fast and in a hurry.
You worry. I am humble Joe.
About the time you think you got them figured out, you'll go on another 4-year drought.
Oh, don't worry. I have
You won't
no.
go. You won't. There's no doubt in my mind. That'll be the last 4-year drought you go on.
Yeah.
You'll be on a few droughts. They'll feel like 4 years, but it won't be
Oh,
4
man.
years.
Yeah.
It's like riding a bike. Once you get down the road without skinning your chin up, you'll go a little.
Hey.
You'll get a little better, and a little better.
And the more you hunt, I mean, it's
Dallas, don't start that now. He's got to go back to work. I mean,
well, over the years, the more time you're good and spending in the woods.
that's right.
You can have one mess up. You can get a dumb turkey. You can get a dumb deer. You can get that special group of ducks in. It's just time spent.
Oh yeah.
And you're gonna have those Hollywood 2-year-olds that are gonna make you look like just the top
Rock
of the world,
star,
Superman, and then you're gonna have the ones that whoop you like Rob had last year. You know, that's just part of it.
Hey,
Man.
speaking of Rob, awfully nice of him. He hit me up, give me all these congrats and whatnot, and he was like, "Hey, where you at, by the way?" And I was like, "Where you? That's where I'm at," type deal. You know, he's like, "I was gonna come snap you up if you're anywhere close to Mississippi or whatnot."
that's
I was like,
cool.
Oh, that's awesome.
Man, I wish we were about 6 hours closer. Just to be in his bow, that'd have been cool to have some really good pics of him. But all in all, man, it's an experience that I know I'll never forget. I know Dallas will never forget. And going back to it, Spencer Pruitt, I know you're out there, boy. You're right. I was wrong, and I will never forget that.
I'll tell you, the last thing I got on it is after we'd walked back down there and saw that those turkey tracks were right by where we were sitting, and it was just deflating. I looked at it and I said, "Listen, man, it's hunting 1, but 2, let me tell you, I've only killed 1 turkey right now, but what's going to bring you back every time, wait until that first bird hits the ground and you're going, I'm going to get him tomorrow. It's okay. We are still in the game."
Yeah, you should have seen the fire in our eyes after that was all said and done, and we're kind of sitting there seeing if anything was going to come back, man. I leaned back, told him, I says, "Tomorrow, we ain't leaving this spot.
Yeah.
We are staying right here. I don't care. We got to pack lunches. We are not moving." Because you know what?
Packed lunches.
Last 3 days, they've walked right through here. They're going to do it again tomorrow.
Yep.
And just figuring it out and figuring out how they did what they did out there is just what makes it go around, man. It's really cool.
Well, I'm glad I got to be the one there with you for it.
That's correct.
That was good.
Well, congratulations. I'm proud of
you,
y'all.
thank you.
Let's wrap this one up because I got a little bit of work to do left today.
Yeah,
You can have the
ball
rest
game
of
too.
you can have the rest of the day off.
Yes!
Congratulations.
Sorry, team.
Yeah, they're not real happy in there. They're all doing crummy jobs today.
Well, if they don't get their butts in gear this week, I'm bringing my wizard wand up here. I'm going to start shooting flame balls at everybody. We got a list of things to do.
Yeah, we do. All right,
Train never stops.
let's congratulations.
Thank you.
Yes.
Congratulations.
Hats off, boys.
Thank you. Thank you.
That's awesome.
It's been a great experience.
Next week we need to fry a turkey up here.
Hungry.
I'm in.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, we appreciate y'all stopping by and listening in. This has been another episode of the Rolling Thunder Podcast. Catch you on the next one.
Catch you on the next one.
See y'all later.